thank you so much for clicking on this review. The fact that you are willing to sacrifice a few minutes out of your day to watch my content really does mean the world to me, and I really do appreciate it. For those of you that are unaware, I review everything that gets released on Netflix. So if you're ever curious about whether a new movie, series, or show is any good, come to my channel and I will let you know. So guys, today we're going to be talking about the new series Bangkok Breaking, which was honestly something I was not expecting. I was expecting it to be something of a clone of Grey's Anatomy or Chicago Fire, Chicago PD, things like that. But this was incredibly fresh, incredibly engaging, and a series that just blew me away. So this is a character-driven drama that follows Wanchai, who moves to Bangkok to find a job and save his family from poverty. He joins a local ambulance foundation and becomes a rescue worker, quickly building a reputation for himself. That's a very brief breakdown. I don't want to give too many story beats or story elements away because this was a roller coaster of a series where you're constantly learning new things about the characters. You're constantly uncovering new character motivations, and it's just such an engaging, enjoyable time. One thing I loved most about this series is actually the themes it tackles and the reality of the situation the characters find themselves in. This is a series that doesn't shy away from reality. It deals with the actions and realities and consequences of real life decisions. And whether that's actions and consequences regarding disasters such as car crashes or fires, or whether that's due to corruption, drug dealing, stuff like that, everything is captured in this series. This is a great series to watch and analyze the idea of consequences to actions. This is a great series to really analyze that, to analyze what living a life outside of the justice system can do, what living a life in corruption can do, what simply acting selfishly can do. We get a great view of the realities and consequences of people's actions in this series. And I just have to say, Flip, as our protagonist is of course a rescue worker, we're seeing firsthand the consequences of people's carelessness. When we see accidents taking place, we see the consequences of these actions. We see fires, we see burn victims, we see car crashes, we see the results of those car crashes. We see people with injuries, people that don't survive their injuries. These are all consequences. And that was great. The series doesn't shy away from that. It lets you know this can happen to anyone, and you could be the cause of an accident like this if you just don't treat things seriously. And it goes with corruption as well. You can very easily become embroiled with this lifestyle if you or someone that you know finds himself living a corrupt lifestyle, a lifestyle that feeds off of injustice. I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but there's a character in this series that's impacted negatively by the corruption of their relative and their family. And they have to end up taking on the debt because that character dies. And now they're forced to basically pay up for the sins of a family member. This idea of debt and corruption becomes hereditary, and it doesn't just impact you even when you're dead. It impacts your entire family. So this series really just hammered home the fact that all of your actions have consequences, and they aren't always fun. Some of these are really bad consequences, and that was great to me. Then the performers were just absolutely fantastic. We had an incredibly diverse cast in regards to characters. We had some that were incredibly stoic, some that were over the top, some that were deadpan, but every single one of them was engaging, and the performers always gave good performances. Again, this is a series that deals with very real topics, very real consequences, and if you had a bad cast, the story would flop so hard. But thankfully the cast is great, the cast is strong, and we're able to see an incredibly engaging story come to life as a result of that. Again, you're going to have to ask yourself if you want to watch subbed or dubbed. I feel like the dubbing of the show definitely wasn't bad. I think that the voice actors that gave a good performance. I think the voice actors did a great job. I don't think they necessarily hit the heights of the original actors, but for dubbing it was quite good. I will say as well, the cinematography was good, and it was handled with care. You noticed very quickly that when sequences were tense, when sequences were harsh, especially when it comes to the recovery and the rescue elements of everything, the cinematography really did a great job of portraying the character's mental and emotional states. When things are rough, the camera isn't steady, it's shaking and it's immersive, and you feel like you're there, you're watching the action unfold, and you're feeling the adrenaline of the characters pumping. The biggest gripe I have with the series is probably its special effects, its VFX and its CGI. At times it can be very wonky, especially in the very first episode. There's this massive car crash, and I feel like the CGI elements there weren't the best. But if you're willing to put that aside, you're able to engage yourself in a story that is good enough to justify that. Of course, the series doesn't focus on the accidents, it focuses on the consequences of those accidents. And so it doesn't really bother me too much that the visual effects weren't amazing. They were just standard. And I didn't have an issue with that, but I know there'll be a lot of CGI purists out there or visual effects purists that will go, I'm not going to watch this series. Did you see how bad that car crash was? And I feel like you're going to be robbing yourself of an incredibly enjoyable experience if you do that or if you have that mentality. But guys, all in all, I think this series was absolutely phenomenal. I loved it. But don't just take my word for it. I've put a poll up on my community tab. So just quickly go to my channel, click on community, scroll down, and you'll be able to see what everybody else thought of this series as well. I always put a rating system up of the latest episodes. And if you feel like this video didn't give you all the information you wanted to know, then go down to my description below where I'll have a written review up of this series as well on my personal website. So you guys can go check out those other two sources to find out if this is definitely a series you want to watch. But guys, thank you so much for watching this video. It really means the world to me. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do give this video a like, and hopefully I will see you again in another review.